Shalom and shalom and stuff. It's always about giving no praise to Yahweh Shem El Shai. Double honor supposed to GMS. Honors to you brothers doing the work in truth, what sincerity. I'm gonna do a quick one. Actually, probably won't be a quick one. This one. This is France may set age of consent at 13 after man acquitted of raping 11-year-old. Right. So two things there. This is a misleading headline. So France does actually have an age of consent, which is 15, but this is for statutory. So basically, they want to say that if she's under 13, then there is no way it was consensual, right? Now the geezer apparently says, that she told him she was gonna be 15 soon, whatever, what have you. But yeah, so that, that's that on that. But you want to just go into just how crazy these age of consent laws are across countries, right? So this is just in Europe, right? So in Albania it's 14, and sorry, age 4 is 14 in Albania, Andorra, Austria, Bulgaria, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Estonia, Germany, Hungary, Italy, Liechtenstein, Macedonia, Montenegro, Portugal, San Marino, Serbia. At 15, it's Croatia, Czech Republic, Denmark, France, Greece, Iceland, Monaco, Poland, Romania, Slovakia, Slovenia, Sweden. 16, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Belarus, Belgium, Finland, Georgia, Kazakhstan, Kosovo, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Moldova, Netherlands, Northern Cyprus, Norway, Russia, Spain, Switzerland, Ukraine, the UK. 17, it's Cyprus and Ireland, and Malta, Turkey, and Vatican City. They got it hard, man. They can't pop legally until they're 18. But these laws are stupid because, in the day, you will remember when you were young. Breasts were being touched from early. Right, you was getting them urges from a young time, from a young age, which I'm going to get into also because the way puberty is happening right now, it's completely fucked up, right? But something that I found of interest is Albania says since 2001 the age of consent is 14 regardless of gender and sexual orientation. In the case of a girl, however, sex is illegal if she's over 14 but has not reached sexual maturity, right? So if it was just has not reached sexual maturity, which it was actually, says in Russia the age of consent is 16. The age of consent changed several times in Russian history. The criminal code of the Russian Soviet Federal Socialist Republic stated sexual maturity, right, which is more in line with the scriptures, right? And we get this 1 Corinthians 7:36. But if any man think that he behaveth himself uncomely toward his virgin, if she pass the flower of her age, right, and that's referring to a period, she start having a period. It says a need so required, let him do what he will. He sinneth not, let them marry, i.e. copulate. Now, as the disclaimer always go, don't do that here. Just don't be stupid. So we get back into what I was saying. But that's just what's in line with the scriptures. Scriptures talk about all things are lawful, but not all things are expedient. It's lawful to put a homosexual to death, right? But it ain't, that's not expedient, right? If you're, if you've got a disobedient son, right, which a lot of these niggas are disobedient as hell, the law says you can put him to death. You bring him to the elders, etc., etc. But that's not expedient, right? So just as this is part of the law, that's just Hebrew custom. That's just what it is. That's not expedient. Don't be doing that, right? So you just got to put that disclaimer out there. We don't advocate that whatsoever. As Apostle Tahar said, if any man be doing that, man, you gonna get kicked out the camp. But basically, I just wanted to show just how varied all of these laws are throughout. What was the list? Yeah, throughout all of Europe, and I'm sure it's the same with the United States. All 50 whatever states. I'm sure that it's all weird, which is why the law just set a straight boundary of this is what it is. And at that point, because you can't have a global law for everyone. For instance, I went to a school with a girl who didn't have a period until she was 19. Right? So it's Isaiah 10:1 says, woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that right grievance which they have prescribed. Right? And, hey man, to say a man can't do his thing until he's 18, that's an unrighteous decree, man. That's unrighteous. right? But you just think about it, man. You just burning. It's like I'm saying. You remember being that age. You was burning from like what 14, 15, however young. You know. This is but like I said, what I wanted to get into also is early puberty that we're seeing throughout. Basically, this one here is in America, NPR, I believe, National Public Radio, whatever, what have you. Right, let's go into this real quick. Basically saying that many girls beginning puberty at an early age, but then also make the point that a lot of them are starting puberty earlier than when they're corpus mentis, before they basically develop, fully mentally, which is more or less impossible for a woman in this day and age, right? But basically looks at some of the things that they were going into, right? So it says evidence suggests that in the past the age was 8, right? This is start of puberty, right? And then it goes on to say how when they say puberty, it's talking about with breast development, pubic hair, and not necessarily menstruation, i.e. period, right? And it says, and look at this, how interesting is this? At age 7, 25% of black girls have breast developments compared to 15% of Hispanic girls with Jake women. But then it drops significantly down to 10% for white girls. Well, really and truly, this is the biggest jump, from black girls to Hispanic girls, but they're both Jakes, right? This is on 2% of Asian girls. The same pattern can be seen for pubic hair development, right? What else? I think there was more good. So basically, she goes, we have a puberty in and of itself is in starting early has a lot of disconcerting aspects. I wonder if this is kind of a canary in the coal mine or a barometer for other things that we're all being exposed to in our environments that may not be healthy for other reasons, right? So we know that this is actually what it is, because this whole kingdom is, and I'll get that in the scriptures there. This whole kingdom is full of toxins. It's it's designed to break you down. It's designed to break Jake down, which is why, as you saw there, it was highest most in so-called black women, right, which would be Judah, according to either Judah, Benjamin, or Levi, for the most part, of course, right. It's also goes into these things called hormone mimickers, right? And it says there are several chemicals that may mimic estrogen in the body. In animal studies, a big one that we're looking at, the culprit, is called bisphenol A, BPA, right? It says it was invented as a medical estrogen. It's a weak estrogen, and it ended up becoming ubiquitous in plastics, and it's also on paper, receipts, and then other compounds, right? And basically that's it's lucky. That's why these plastics be poisoning you, these papers poison you, your food is poisoning you. Scriptures talk in Ezekiel 4:13, right? It says, and the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles. And we're doing that. We get some water, it's coming in these plastic bottles, because when you actually see a plastic bottle will have a use by date. The use by date isn't for the water, but it's actually for the bottle, right? As all those chemicals start leaching in it. Like I said, it's by design, right? Because Esau, at the end of the day, he's a man. You read the Georgia Guidestones, basically says only want 500 million people left on Earth. So that means killing 7.5 billion. And these are all the different ways, different avenues that Esau's put together to, to bring, bring about his, to fill his belly, right? So we go into, what did I put in that? Oh yeah, so it's this last paragraph, right? It says, we think that soil may actually be protective, i.e. against early, early puberty. It says the data now coming out that women shouldn't worry so much about their soy intake for breast cancer, but it does speak to another concept in environmental health, which is window susceptibility. That means the timing of when you're exposed to something does affect the outcome. We think that children should eat soy because that's when it trains their body to become... Okay, why did I bring that out? It was about soy. Maybe I misread it, so I'll leave that one out. So Isaiah 24:5 says, the earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws and changed the ordinances and broken the everlasting covenant. Right, so Esau's, transgressed the laws. He's transgressed the land Sabbath. Right, everything for him is done for profit. Nothing is done out of balance. You see what I did? A segue back into Proverbs 11. It says, a false balance is an abomination to Yahweh, but a just way is his delight. Right? And all of Esau's dealings is done in a false balance. Right? Nothing is, weighed properly. He's always doing... you could have had glass, but he says plastic. He finds out that plastic is poisonous, or rather, he knew it was poisonous. And he did not, and he either did it anyway or he did it by design. This is the devil. Right? Changed the ordinances, broken the everlasting covenant. Right? It says, therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. Right? It says Psalms 82:5 says, they know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. Once again, going into how the earth is defiled. Right, food no longer gives you the gives you the nutrients that it's supposed to give you. Right, things that were a basis, a foundation, are not what they are anymore. Right, now I'll finish with Revelation 11:18 says, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou should give reward unto thy servants, the prophets, and to the saints, and to them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. When Esau's destroyed the earth, as I was saying, just when you read the law, it talks about the land Sabbath, right, and how you basically farm a land, and then after a period of time you stop planting on that land, you stop using that land. Right, and then you come back, I think it's after a year, and then I think it's 6 years, you can, farm. 7th year, you leave it to rest as a Sabbath, and then you can come back and do it again. Even how you grow your fruits, I'll forget it off the top of my head, but you have a tree, and then it's for some, like I said, I forget, but you won't be able to eat of that tree for a couple of years. Right, even though it's growing fruits, etc., etc., and you just got to wait up until the time comes of the, what the law says, and then you can start eating of that tree. Right, and all of these things are good and useful for, the quality of the food, the quality of the land, because when you farm year in, year out, the land gets destroyed, the land gets desolate, which is why we see we've got Roundup, all of these different weed killers all over the place, because the land is defiled. Right. But like I said, I just wanted to go into all of that because, when, chicks shouldn't be hitting puberty, starting their men's real early as is, being observed. Right. And also, these laws are just bullshit. Right, so, that Lord's all been edified, sure.